It's a great day at the Academy of Scholars, and welcome to episode 5 of Scholarly Speaking Live with Dr. Stacy Lambert Johnson, Director of Student Success at the Academy of Scholars. I'm Benny Cranton Jr., the Assistant Director of Student Success. For today's topic, we will discuss why children lie.
Thank you for joining us for today's live session. No matter where you're joining us from, whether you are at home or at work, we pray that you are having a great AOS day and hope that you can visit us here on campus someday soon. Today's topic is an interesting one: why children lie. There's a story behind why I selected this topic for a discussion today, and we'll get to that shortly. Benny, where can our viewers access our live sessions once they're over?
As always, everything from today's show will end up on our website, academyofscholars.com, including both the audio and video versions. You can also find the video version on our Facebook page, YouTube channel, LinkedIn, and Instagram. You'll be able to download the audio version anywhere you download your favorite podcast. We want to take this opportunity to say hello to all of the people joining us live today. Thank you for being with us. And remember, comment for your opportunity to win a free restaurant gift card so that you can have a great dinner with your family. Shout out to all the people who are following us on our social media platforms. We appreciate you joining us today. And do us a favor, tell your friends that we're on.
So Benny, I know you have younger kids, but my children are grown, 31 and 28 years old. But I'm finding that I knew nothing about parenting when my children were younger. I mean, anything that I knew was from what I had learned from my parents and how they parented me. I mean, needless to say, I think I turned out okay.
I would say so. In fact, you raised a nurse and a lawyer, so we probably should be stealing tips on child rearing from you.
Yeah, but I think that I could have been a better parent if I had done just a little bit of research, right? For example, I never understood why children lied. And as a parent, I just felt like it was my responsibility to discipline them if they did. But something happened with my 3-year-old this past weekend, and it made me have to do some research to think about this question: why do children lie? It's really kind of sad to share, but my innocent, chunky, lovable, adorable 3-year-old grandson lied.
No.
Yes, and what's worse is that he repeatedly lied. He told it over and over and over.
Oh, wow.
So here's what happened. So I call him, every day on FaceTime, and this particular day he didn't want to talk to me because he was playing a video game or whatever. And I'm like, Trey, talk to Nana, put the video game away. He stuck his tongue out at me. I'm like, Trey, that's rude. He did it a second time.
Wow.
And then I'm like, okay, I'm telling your mom and dad. He did it a third time. So, I called up his mom and dad, and I'm like, yeah, Trey just stuck his tongue out at me. They call him in the room. They say, Trey, did you stick your tongue out at your Nana? And he said, with a British accent, I don't know where it came from, I did not. I'm like, oh, he lied. He's 3. Where is this coming from? They asked him again. He's like, I did not.
Wow.
So they kept asking him, almost to the point where it got to the point where my son did not believe that his son had done it. He's like, Mom, are you sure that he stuck his tongue out? You sure it wasn't his lips? I'm like, I know what he did. I'm like, I'm a 27-year educator. You're going to not believe me and believe your 3-year-old son who's lying? So eventually he told the truth. And then when his mom asked him why he had lied, he said that, he didn't want to make her mad.
Oh.
Yeah, so this incident led me to do a little bit of homework on why children lie and what parents can do about it. According to the research, children lie for several reasons. 1, to get out of punishment. 2, to make adults happy. 3, because we adults lie. 4, because they're concrete thinkers. 5, because they don't understand that reality is fixed. And 6, because they have an active imagination.
Wow, I love the fact that we're talking about this subject. There's nothing in the world I cherish more than being a dad. And not only that, but I want to be super dad, right? So I've always done homework to help me stay informed on how I can raise great children. And one of my favorite books that I've ever read was Nurture Shop by Poe Bronson and Ashley Merriman. I recommend this book to any parent or educator for that matter. And one of my favorite chapters in that book is Why Children Lie. It changed my whole perspective as an administrator. So let's just dive in here.
Yes, Betty, and it's funny because when I told you about what happened with my grandson, you not only recommended the book, but you brought it into me so that I could read it. And so that was my weekend homework. And I did use some of that information in my research. So the first reason that children lie is to get out of punishment. For most children, there are consequences for lying, and it usually ends up with some form of punishment, right? Children learn to avoid the punishment by lying. Punishing a child for lying without understanding why he or she did it is ineffective. Children need to understand what they did wrong and how to correct their behavior. So sending them to their room, putting them in timeout, taking away their devices, none of that really works. What works is natural consequences, right? Or having a conversation, a small discussion. Those are best practices. Those are the things that you need to do instead of punishing a child. So, you really don't need that. For example, if a child is at school and they cut their hair, cut it right off. We've had this happen a few times in our school. And then they blame their friend and their classmate. Instead of, when you find out that they lied about it, the natural consequences, you don't rush them to the beauty salon to get their hair fixed. You let them walk around with that uneven haircut, or that patch in their head if they're a boy and they did it. That's the natural consequence for them lying.
That's why I think it's really important for adults to avoid putting children in position to lie. So many times adults ask children questions they already know the answer to.
Yeah,
it's like we want to give them an honesty test in addition to correcting them on what they've done. It's only one person in the house that plays with Play-Doh.
Right.
So asking your child who got Play-Doh on the carpet is giving them an option to tell a lie.
Yes.
So you'd be better just by asking them or telling them, I see you got Play-Doh on the carpet. You need to clean it up, and you won't be able to play with the Play-Doh for a while.
Yes, Benny. That's a great point that was made in Nature Shock. And the first question that we always ask children, we all do it, is, did you do it?
Right.
Yes! You're setting them up for the lie. I'm guilty of it as well. The second reason that children lie is to make us adults happy. Research shows that when trying to get your child to tell the truth, you shouldn't say, I will not be upset with you if you tell me the truth. Because even though parents say this quite frequently, it doesn't reduce the lying. Why? Because children don't trust the promise of immunity, right? They don't believe that they won't get in trouble. So in their minds, they're thinking, my parents wish I didn't do this in the first place. So if I say I didn't do it, that's the best chance of making my parent happy. Furthermore, they want to please you. So instead of saying, I will not be mad if you tell me the truth, you should say, I will be really happy if you tell the truth.
Oh, that's great insight, Stacy. It's like the difference between the story of the boy who cried wolf and George Washington chopping down the cherry tree. It's probably more effective to show the merits of George Washington telling the truth. I cannot tell a lie, right? Than to warn them about the boy getting eaten because he kept crying wolf.
Absolutely, Benny. The third reason children lie is because they learn it from us. They watch us, right, bend the truth and receive mixed messages. Like when we pretend to like a relative's gift in front of the relative and the child, but verbalize how we truly feel in front of the child. Like when you say, what a dumb gift. Could her gifts get any worse? Children get the message. So the next time, you see the relative and the child blurts out, my mom really hated your gift. I mean, can you really be upset about that? No, you can't. Instead, explain lies. Talk about the times you think it's okay to lie, such as when you receive a gift that you don't like or to avoid hurting someone's feelings. If you lie in front of your child, talk about it and tell why you did it. Know that whatever you tell them, though, becomes a reason to lie that your children will internalize. Yeah. True story. My mom, when I turned 13, took me to the movies. And she gets up to the counter, gets ready to pay the guy. He's like, how old is she? Of course, 12 and below, you get a discounted, the cheaper ticket.
Right.
So she says, she's 12. I had just turned 13. I'm like, I'm 13!
Oh, no.
And my mom gave me the death stare that I still remember to this day.
You ruined it.
She was like, and I was like, ooh. I internalized at that moment that it's okay to lie if you're going to get a discount.
This is a tough one, though, because sometimes you don't even realize what you're teaching your children. I'm a prankster, and I like to have fun with my kids, so I like to trick them, right?
Right.
But most times when you're tricking your kids, you're tricking them with lies.
That's true.
And though this isn't meant to be harmful, young children really can't tell the difference.
Yes, Benny. As a matter of fact, that's reason number 4. You hit the nail on the head of why children lie. They are concrete thinkers, and there are too many gray areas on the spectrum of lying, right? Such as lying to avoid hurting someone's feelings and lies of omission. Parents should define honesty and spend time talking about honesty and how it influences behavior. Point out examples in books, real life, and their behavior. Reward truthfulness, right? Be a role model. If you lie, they will too.
Yep.
If you tell the truth, even when it's difficult, they will too.
Those are sage words. And part of teaching children is just difficult. As a parent, we all want to raise kind children and teach them old sayings like, if you can't say anything good, don't say anything at all, right? But what happens when you go to someone's house and they have raisins in the potato salad, though? And then they ask you, hey, would you like some potato salad? And you're like, no, I'm allergic to potatoes. Now you taught your child that lying is okay.
Exactly. Reason number 5 of why children lie is that they do not understand that reality is fixed. Until age 7 or 8, children often see a blurred line between reality and fantasy and don't know that reality is permanently fixed. They think wishful thinking really works. So when they say they didn't do it, like my grandson said, I did not. What they really mean is that they wish they hadn't done it, right? And that they're trying to make that the truth. So parents should discuss the difference between fantasy and reality. Help children understand the difference by reading books and discussing what is fantasy, what is reality. And the same can be done with movies and video games.
I would venture to say here, Stacy, that we shouldn't demonize children when they don't tell the truth, especially when they're little, okay? It's almost like correcting speech. So when a child says, that's mine's, and you repeat mine to emphasize that it's mine and not mine's, you can correct lies, and as I like to say sometimes, storytelling, right? You can correct the storytelling the same way. You could say, you wish you could have a unicorn, or your pretend friend told you to say that.
That's right, Benny. Again, pointing out the difference between reality and fantasy helps. And finally, reason number 6 of why children lie is lying is all a part of imagination and experimentation. This helps children to develop their cognitive abilities. It takes more imagination and cognitive ability to lie, right, than to tell the truth, even though the truth is more noble and just. Think about how creative and imaginative children can be with their lies.
Yes.
Research shows that children who lie have a higher IQ than the average child. Now, parents, I need you to listen closely. Teaching a child to lie in the hopes that he or she will become smarter as a result, that's not recommended, okay? Because people who lie habitually are known as sociopaths.
Right.
And as adults, a fair number of them will spend time in prison for committing illegal acts. So honesty really is the best policy.
Ultimately, a parent's greatest desire is that their children have a great life, even greater than ours. That's the whole reason why I want to be a great dad, a super dad, right? And part of that is teaching our kids to be people of great character.
Yes.
And a person of great character is a person who's honest. And that's why I'm so appreciative that here at AOS, our school actually has a class, Bible Studies and Character Development, where we're teaching our children about great character.
Yes, and we have cameras everywhere here at the school, but children will still lie even when it is shown to them on the camera, like, is this you, this is what you do, no, that's not me.
Right.
That's why we have to teach Bible and character development. We're molding and shaping our scholars to be honest individuals, and you'll often hear me say, especially when I'm talking to our younger scholars, do you want to make God happy? Because if you do, you have to tell the truth. Well, what do you think? We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Please comment and share your thoughts on this topic.
Awesome. We have a few people chiming in today. I see that Paulette James says, I will ask my son if he washed his hands before dinner or brushed his teeth before bed, and he will say yes, even though he hasn't. I mean, that's just kind of what happens. Thank you, Miss James, for being on here. I see that Miss Smith Baggett is on here. Crystal Strong says hello, hello. Thank you for being on today. Kyla Crane, hey, baby, that's my wife. She says, thank you both for your expertise. Thank you, sugar. I thank you for being on here. Mr. Hollandquest is watching again. Thank you. He's been a faithful for watcher. We appreciate you
Tell
being
Leon
on.
we said hi.
Yes, Leon. Hey, we also like Carla. We see that Carla Lanier Black is on here. Thank you. Hey.
Don't forget the comments.
Yes, and tell Janiyah we say hello. She does say hello. I'm here. Thank you for being here. Tell Janiyah we say hello. Thank you all for being on here. Sasha Little has been on here nearly every week. I see that Michael Raphael, who's always on here. Also, Miss Itzen is here once again. Thank you. And I see some other people who are on here. We appreciate you. Now, remember, by commenting on here, now you have a chance to win the PF Chang's gift card. So we are looking for, so Dr. Johnson will give you the honor of choosing who the participant will be this time.
I'm just going to go with number 4.
Number 4, let's see. Nikki Scott. Nikki Scott, congratulations. You have just won this free PF Chang's gift card. We appreciate you being here with us today. Thank you. And wherever you are, no matter where you live in the world, you can give your child access to an exceptional Christian affordable education with the Academy of Scholars Premier Online Learning. Not only does the Academy of Scholars give your child the opportunity to engage in school at their own pace, but we also provide a comprehensive curriculum that includes classes like Bible studies and character development, which will help develop your child to their fullest potential. The Academy of Scholars Premier Online Learning is the online school you've been looking for.
I hope you enjoyed today's live session. To learn more about our amazing school, the Academy of Scholars, please go to our website at academyofscholars.com. Join us next week as we continue our live discussions. Next week, in honor of Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week, we'll talk about educators who impacted our lives when we were in school. Until next time, I am Dr. Stacy Lambert Johnson.
And I'm Benny Crane Jr.
Saying goodbye and be blessed.